Anyway, you know, it's not a review, but I have been reading a little bit of reviews from people that have gotten the issue in the mail. And there are several, or at least maybe one or two, whatever, but there are several fans that are wondering one thing. You know, at the end of 284 and basically at the beginning of 285, Sky Patrol was basically wrecked, mostly its engines and stuff, made into a shell of its former self. Now, I haven't read any further comments or anything, but basically it sounds like 286 was the last stand for the Sky Patrol, or at least to a point that maybe what happened is they just couldn't stand up to the death egg too much, and Rotor and Nicole had to get the death egg out of there before any further damage was done. Now, one question a lot of people have, some have pointed out, is Nicole. And the question or thing they'd like to point out is it really Nicole that told everybody she was okay, or is it Phage, the virus in disguise? Let me kind of clarify something on that, because I know some people might be new to the comic, maybe not be new to the comic, may not want to give, Ian the benefit of the doubt, and I don't blame them. But I do not think that is Phage. Okay. First of all, that is not Phage in disguise as Nicole, for anybody that's curious about that. Because the way Ian, along with Aaliyah, and any other writers since the Soft Retcon reboot of 252 have done, they have done everything they can to help build up Nicole's character. And the way 284 ended with her and then 285, yeah, it might kind of throw people off and make you think, okay, that's not really Nicole, because Nicole would usually pop up in a little holographic way or speak through Sky Patrol and say, hey, I'm cool, I'm good. But you got to look at it from this perspective. Sky Patrol suffered a significant amount of damage to the point that the only thing that Nicole can back herself up in and download herself in is the main computers, like Tails handheld and stuff. So with that said, if Ian Flynn was going to kill off a character like Nicole after building her up for so long, he wouldn't do it in such a half-assed way. He wouldn't just have her basically, along with the rest of the computers, along with the rest of Sky Patrol's systems and network, just completely be overcome by Phage and all that, and then that's it. Hold on for a sec. Be right back. Hello? Hello? Alright. Alright. Sorry about that. Got a call from my mom. She's on her way home. But basically, as I was saying, folks, the way they build up Nicole is they wouldn't kill her off in such a half-assed way. They wouldn't, do something like that at the end of 284, and then try to throw people off with 285 and say, oh, by the way, that's not really Nicole. Ian Flynn wouldn't really do that. I mean, he would, but at least he would give some kind of clue as to something's not going to be right. That something is totally off, and things don't seem right with Nicole or anything. Now, if he does that, the only way he would do that with Nicole's character is if Nicole somehow got a little bit of the virus absorbed into her and she starts slowly being corrupted by it, but that would be a storyline in its own. The point is, ladies and gentlemen, is Nicole's character has been built up, has been rebuilt to a point that just like with Rotors, Sallies, and Bunnies, and all that, and Antoine's, that they're not going to kill her off just like that for shock value. I mean, comic books have been known to do that, yes, but they're not going to do it to the point that, hey, why'd you build her up so much? Why'd you give her a spark of life, full part universe arc? Why'd you do all that? Or you're just going to kill her off just like that? Kill her off just like that at the end of 284. 284. Why would you do that? You wouldn't. You wouldn't do that. I mean, not even Marvel or DC does that unless they built something up. Unless you follow this synopsis and they say something big's going to happen, some kind of tragedy or whatever, they don't really do that unless they need to spike book sales, to the comic, subscription sales to the comics. That's the only reason. And Ian Flynn, I think, has learned his lesson well enough that you don't want to do something like this. I mean, pretty much Ian Flynn saw the reaction fans gave him in the entire book when he did the Mecha Sally deal. Not many fans, including myself, were happy about it. Because it's like you're basically doing this, you basically roboticized a very popular character, what? For shock value? What? To show that nobody's off limits? I mean, I get that. But if that was the case, then Ian Flynn would still be living by his own quota, his own code, if you will, that dead is dead. And there'd be no way he was going to bring back said characters if they died. I think, in a sense, when Ian Flynn said something like dead is dead, he meant that for minor characters, like characters that don't really show up that much and just need to be gone and have no real purpose. But I don't think he would do that to Nicole's character or Rhoda's character or anything. If he does, like I said, it's just for shock value. But you do have a Deus Ex Machina in Chip, the Light Gaia, which I would assume, I believe, be someone that would be able to revive Rhoda or Nicole if something was to happen. So, to me, to answer the question some people might have, I don't think Ian Flynn would do this. I don't think he would kill Nicole off at the end of 284 just for shock value and then suddenly say, hey, let's have Phage disguise himself as Nicole to fool everybody to be another spy for Eggman. No. Because if you remember, if you read that issue in 284, Phage was just a distraction. She didn't think, okay, I'm going to wait until Nicole gets wiped out, then I'm going to take her place. No. That was planned out in Spark of Life. But Phage was basically weakened to a point that she's still threatening and powerful, but she may not be able to take shape or shapeshift into any other character. The point I'm trying to make, folks, is I don't think Ian Flynn would do that with any of the characters unless there was something big. Like, let's say the comic was to ever switch publications and it's going to get a do-over at another publication, basically in issue 1 in another publication. Yeah, he would probably do something like that then, because the finale would need some kind of significance, some kind of driving force to really get people's attention. No doubt about that. But I don't think he will do that right now, because the comic, despite how people feel about it, is still one of the more successful comics Archie Comics has right now. So I don't think he would do that. So to answer the question, no. So to answer the question, Nicole as an AI is still alive in the comics, in the Shattered World, in the Panic in the Sky arc, the finale for Shattered World. She's still alive, it's still her. I mean, I understand maybe some people are thinking otherwise because they want some kind of shock value, but you know what? That's not the case. It's her, believe me. And really, that's all I'm going to say on it. I mean, again, I don't think Ian Flynn would do that unless there was some kind of synopsis indicating something coming down the line. I don't think that's going to happen. Especially with this being the 25th anniversary of the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise, I don't think so. I really don't think so. So, to answer the question, if anybody's wondering, no. I think Nicole's alive. I believe she is, because Ian Flynn, he would find a way to say otherwise. So, and you know what? We don't have him on the freaking Bumble King forums anymore. We don't even have the Bumble King forums anymore to communicate with him with. And quite frankly, it's a shame. But, like I said, she's alive still, unless stated otherwise. So, let's just leave it at that. I will be back soon with a review of the part 3, whether it's by reading through Sonic Scan F or physically having the issue. But that's all I'm going to say, folks. So let me know what you think down below. I'm out.